Welcome to Wellness and Mindfulness Digest 2026-0603. Today's 12 stories. Story 1, yoga for high blood pressure can lower your numbers by more than expected. Story 2, chest vibration during mindfulness improves body awareness and stress response. Story 3, can mindfulness work like medicine for anxiety disorders? Story 4, a meditation to bring comfort and kindness to pain and illness. Story 5, mindfulness meditation health benefits. What science proves in 2026. Story 6, yoga versus Pilates. What's the better workout? Evidence on stress, mood, and pain. Story 7, yogic consciousness and mental health. A conceptual framework from Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Story 8, 4 quick ways to transition from Chaturanga to up dog. Story 9, King Pigeon is a challenging backbend. These 4 yoga poses will help you prepare. Story 10, breathwork for anxiety, settling the nervous system, guided practice. Story 11, integrating mindfulness, breath, and compassion for well-being and connection. Story 12, wellness trends for 2026, longevity and mindfulness shape regeneration. In the rapidly expanding world of digital wellness, a new guided breathwork session from teacher Kate Plummer has appeared on Insight Timer, one of the world's most popular meditation platforms. Published on June 3, 2026, the session clocks in at just under 6 minutes, and is designed specifically for moments of anxiety, tension, or what practitioners call nervous system activation. The technique is straightforward, an extended exhale, meaning breathing out for longer than you breathe in, which has a genuine physiological basis in activating the parasympathetic nervous system and dialing down the body's stress response. What makes this session noteworthy in the broader wellness conversation is not just the technique, but how it's packaged. There's no counting, no structured protocol, no special skill required. That design choice is intentional. When someone is in the grip of anxiety, complexity becomes a barrier. Plummer strips it all away, making the practice available to virtually anyone in any moment. Kate Plummer is not an unknown voice in this space. She maintains a following of over 79,000 on Insight Timer, positioning her as a significant micro-influencer in the guided meditation world. The session had only 2 plays at the time of this analysis, meaning it was brand new with no meaningful feedback data yet. But it enters a platform ecosystem where millions of people turn daily for accessible mental health support. This raises a question the wellness industry is still wrestling with. Where is the line between a helpful self-care tool and a substitute for clinical care? Extended exhale breathwork is backed by science, but the platform context, commercial, unregulated, and creator-driven, means users receive no clinical assessment, no follow-up, and no safety net if their anxiety requires professional attention. The trend this session represents is real and growing. As we'll see in other coverage from 2026, breathwork, nervous system regulation, and emotional fitness are becoming mainstream concepts, moving from clinical settings into everyday consumer culture. That's largely a positive development, but it comes with a responsibility to be honest about what these tools can and cannot do. A new peer-reviewed study published in the American Journal of Qualitative Research is drawing attention for formalizing something many wellness practitioners have long advocated but rarely seen given academic rigor. A structured framework that integrates mindfulness, breathwork, and compassion practices to support mental health in the workplace. The study, published on June 3, 2026, introduces what the authors call heart-centered learning, a model developed specifically for educators, teachers, administrators, and others working in educational environments where chronic stress and burnout are well-documented problems. The research takes a qualitative approach, meaning it explores the lived experiences of participants rather than relying purely on numerical data. That methodological choice is significant. Stress and well-being are deeply personal, and quantitative measures like survey scores often miss the texture of how people actually change and grow through contemplative practice. By centering the voices of educators themselves, the study builds a richer picture of what works, why it works, and how it feels from the inside. The heart-centered learning framework is notable for combining 3 distinct but complementary domains: mindfulness for present-moment awareness, breathwork for physiological regulation, and compassion practices for relational and emotional connection. Most workplace wellness interventions pick one lane. This framework insists that genuine well-being requires attention to all 3 simultaneously. That integrative logic aligns with what neuroscience and clinical psychology are increasingly confirming. The body, the mind, and our relationships with others are not separate systems. They regulate each other. The publication in a peer-reviewed journal matters too. It signals that contemplative practices are no longer confined to wellness retreats or personal development blogs. They are entering the academic mainstream, subject to the same standards of inquiry applied to any other health intervention. For school systems, HR departments, and professional development planners, this study offers something concrete, a named, replicable framework with qualitative evidence behind it. The next step, as the field continues to mature, will be building out complementary quantitative studies to establish the scale and duration of benefits. A Berlin-based psychology practice has published one of the more thoughtful wellness trend analyses of 2026, and it stands out because it does something most trend pieces don't. It tells you what to avoid as well as what to embrace. Published by Praxis Psychology Berlin on June 3, 2026, the article takes stock of where the wellness industry is heading and applies genuine psychological scrutiny to the claims being made. The overarching narrative is one of maturation. According to the piece, 2026 is being described as a year of consolidation in the health market. After an experimental phase in 2025 where new modalities proliferated rapidly, the focus is now shifting towards scientific rigor. The Global Wellness Institute is cited predicting that wellness will no longer be viewed as a luxury good, but as an essential component of healthcare, a significant cultural and commercial transition. Two trends get particular attention. The first is emotional fitness, the idea that mental well-being is not a state you either have or lack, but a skill you can actively train. Methods like structured journaling and breathwork are cited as core tools. This framing has real public health potential because it reduces stigma, encourages preventive engagement, and puts practical tools in people's hands. The second major trend is vagus nerve stimulation, what the article calls electric medicine. The vagus nerve is a key player in regulating the body's stress response, and non-invasive devices that stimulate it have been making their way from clinical settings into consumer wellness products. The article sees this as potentially revolutionary for stress management, but it's also honest about the risks. 3 unnamed trends are flagged as genuinely dangerous from a psychological perspective, a reminder that not everything marketed under the wellness umbrella is evidence-based or safe. That critical voice is important. The wellness industry is vast and largely unregulated, and consumers need trustworthy guidance about where the science ends and the hype begins. Articles like this one, written by practicing clinicians rather than marketers, play a valuable role in that ecosystem. Meditation teacher Juliana Sloan offers a guided compassion-based practice specifically designed for those experiencing chronic pain or complex illness. The practice centers on meeting suffering with creativity, gentleness, and self-kindness rather than resistance. Published by Mindful, a trusted source for accessible, evidence-informed meditation content. A comprehensive 2026 overview of what peer-reviewed research confirms about mindfulness meditation's health benefits, with specific attention to the MBSR model. The article synthesizes current evidence across mental health, stress physiology, and cognitive outcomes. It serves as a useful research roundup for practitioners and curious readers alike. This evidence-based comparison highlights that yoga's strongest research support lies in stress reduction, mood improvement, and pain relief, with mechanisms including cortisol lowering. The article provides a clear, accessible summary of yoga's documented benefits versus Pilates. It is useful for readers seeking practical guidance grounded in research. This academic paper integrates the classical philosophical framework of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras with contemporary scientific literature on yoga and meditation's mental health benefits. It bridges traditional yogic wisdom and empirical research, offering a rigorous conceptual grounding. Relevant for practitioners and researchers interested in the deeper philosophy behind evidence-based yoga. Yoga Journal offers practical, teacher-guided instruction on one of yoga's most common and injury-prone transitions. The article breaks down technique modifications and alignment cues to help practitioners move more safely and effectively. It is grounded, accessible, and directly practical for anyone with a regular asana practice. Yoga Journal provides a structured preparatory sequence for King Pigeon pose, a deep backbend that requires significant hip flexor, shoulder, and spinal mobility. The article includes preparatory poses and mindful cueing to ensure practitioners approach the shape safely. It exemplifies responsible, sequenced teaching that respects the mind-body continuum. This short, accessible guided breathwork session from Insight Timer uses extended exhale techniques to reduce anxiety and nervous system activation. It is designed for moments of acute stress or tension, making it immediately practical. The extended exhale approach has a solid physiological basis in vagal nerve stimulation and parasympathetic activation. This peer-reviewed article introduces a heart-centered learning framework that combines mindfulness, breathwork, and compassion practices to support well-being and reduce stress among educators. The study explores lived experiences alongside structured practice, providing both qualitative depth and practical application, relevant to anyone interested in community-based or professional mindfulness integration. This 2026 Wellness Trends Overview highlights how mindfulness and vagus nerve stimulation are moving into mainstream regenerative health practices. It contextualizes current trends within longevity research and stress physiology, with specific mention of nervous system regulation. A useful orienting piece for understanding where evidence-based wellness is heading.